got this recorded for everybody. All right, and been talking to you, I guess, for about 6 months, and I think we mutually had agreed that the small to medium-sized business community is certainly a very, very important business community here in the New York City and throughout, quite frankly, the United States. The work that we're going to be doing for this study in the five boroughs of the city of New York is important so people can get a baseline, all right, to kind of know where they stand. All right, so why don't you go into the study, and we welcome you on to the program, and thank you at 8:15 at night for coming on with us.
Hey, and it's a pleasure to participate in this program, and it's only taken actually about a year to get Skype for us to work, so we're really slow up here in northern Michigan.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I'm a New Yorker, so I'm not sure how I ended up here, but I'm a guy from Queens. I'm a guy from the neighborhood, you might say. But yeah, we are really pleased to work with you and New York InfraGard on this project. This is a really cool project because we've done a lot of research on what are best practices in data protection and what are some of the costs of an information security exploit or a data breach. But this particular study is really focused on the city, the five boroughs of New York, and if we're generous, we may want to include Staten Island. I know they're one of the five boroughs, and maybe even Nassau County. Don't shoot me if I say that, or even Suffolk County. But I think the key variable is that New York is a microcosm of the world. And basically, the key variable is that we want to understand what are some of the security threats and risks and the actual attacks that organizations have experienced, say in the recent past, over the last 12 to 24 months. Why is that important? Well, because when you think about all of the businesses, the small to medium-sized businesses in New York, it's a fairly large number of organizations. And these other organizations may constantly be under attack. And in the world of cybersecurity, it may be unknown to these small business folks. I mean, these folks may understand what like a credit card fraud is, or what a payment fraud is, or someone shoplifting clothing in a clothing store, in a department store, but they may not actually understand how cybercrime can affect their organization and can diminish the value of these organizations overnight. So the key variable is we want to work with you, the audience of this program, with you, Joe, as well, to develop a really great survey, and then to deploy that survey among hopefully hundreds, if not 1,000 or more organizations that reside in the five boroughs of New York. And as I said before, I'm not joking when I say maybe we'll consider Nassau County. I like Long Beach, I have to be honest with you. South Shore.
I like the beach too, Larry. All right. Hey, Larry, before you go on, do me a favor. Just put your monitor down just slightly, okay?
Okay, I'll do that. Is that better?
Right. Yeah, that's excellent.
Joe, I'm short, man. I can't help myself. I feel like I'm on a throne here. I'm here in my home, my dining room, and I'm shrinking.
No, that's okay. I like I told you on the pre-call earlier today. Don't grow and don't shrink any. You would just
I am shrinking.
Just perfect the way you are. All right, so I certainly agree with a lot of what you're saying, and you're right. There are so many tributaries into the large businesses in Manhattan. That's kind of where everybody thinks all the time. But there are Westchester, Nassau, Suffolk County, and even as I constantly tease Phil, the sixth borough of the city of New York. All right, and we all know that's the state of New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 5.5. That's 6.
Yeah, so we may get some input from them as well, and we invite that. The idea is to give the community at large, a good picture of what's going on, and then to have them kind of in respect, look back at themselves and say, hey, where do I stand here, and do I need to improve my security posture? All right, so I'll be quiet. This is your time. So
I love it. I love this conversation. That's what it's about. I mean, you do research to help organizations, to help people. Right. I mean, it's a real basic. That's our mission, right? Is to be able to come up with findings that say, look, this is what good companies do, and this is the benefit, and this is what companies that are not up to snuff and what they're doing, and what you shouldn't be doing. And so it's really to give them a sense for what they can do proactively to mitigate or resolve some of the security risks and issues that are potentially having a pretty significant effect on their business operations. And we know it's a big problem. I mean, let me give you a couple of stories. About 12 years ago, this is when I was a partner, senior partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers. We were doing a project for an organization that had pretty large data breach, about maybe 12, maybe 1.2 million records that were lost or stolen. And basically, how this happened is a small organization, a minority owned business. Now, this was in New York, so don't get nervous. It was actually outside of Chicago, so it was in Illinois. But basically, this small organization, a minority owned business, about 100 employees, they made a mistake and they basically mailed the wrong statements to the wrong people. I'm sure this happened to you before, but it was on a large scale and it basically required notification and a whole bunch of other issues. And ultimately, that organization lost their one large client, which was a top 5 financial service organization, because of that error. So things happen because of malicious or criminal attacks, and that's what we tend to focus on in the security space. But bad things happen because of system glitches as well as just negligence. And so really what we want to do in this study is to really help organizations to understand their security posture, to understand the security ecosystem that makes sense for them, and to come up with recommendations, things that they can do on a practical level to potentially mitigate or resolve some of these issues that they face. It's also to create awareness. There are organizations, I'm sure right now, that are being attacked, that are losing data, intellectual property, or even suffering from devices that aren't working very well. These organizations are suffering, but they're not aware of the fact that they're under attack. They don't fully understand the complexity and the difficulty that are associated with cybercrime. So really, that's what this study is about. I don't know of a single study that actually does this geographically. I think New York, well, I'm biased. I'm a New Yorker. It's one of the coolest places in the world. And the greatest entrepreneurs seem to start from New York. They have a bagel shop on 108th Street in Queens, and right, and they end
Oh
up
yeah,
becoming, I don't know, like they own Trump Place.
yeah.
But the key variable is we really want to see organizations in New York succeed as a result of as a result, excuse me, of this very important research. So what we want from the audience, we want you to participate. If you know something about your business, if you really want to participate and understand what you're doing or not doing from a security perspective, everything is confidential. We're not going to embarrass you. We're not going to do a TV show talking about your name and the things that you're not doing right. But basically, we want to take this information, create a really cool report, an important report, then report back to you and others to explain what you can do to improve your security posture. That's really what this study is about. And we're going to work really closely with you, Joe, because you're an expert. You understand cybersecurity probably better than the universe of people. But we are researchers, and we want to make sure that it's done right. So anyway, that's my spiel.
No, I
Yeah.
certainly can appreciate that, Larry. And, we're going to break for a commercial in just about a minute or so. But, we are very much, both in the same space. I've been in security all my career. All right. Most of it not in electronic security. So, I don't know that I'm such an expert in that. But in the entire security spectrum and certainly a risk management, I'm very, very, very aware of what's going on in that area. So, I mean, and that includes the cyber area as well. I've learned a lot over the last 9 years. Kind of taking both tracks there, the physical and electronic world. So I do consider myself kind of informed in that area. We certainly do, appreciate you participating in the program. And let me just say this to kind of echo what Keith O'Brien was saying earlier. InfraGard didn't go to the bagel shop on 108th Street, which you and I both know very well. All right.
Who you knew that bagel shop? I don't know why, but I do.
Without a
It's
doubt.
called a bagel nosh or
It's on
something.
the right as you go up towards Queens Boulevard. But
Yeah, you're right.
I digress. All right. But we wouldn't go to that bagel shop to conduct some serious research. All right. We wanted to go to a subject matter expert for that, and you are that expert. You've got a clear track record that we've been following for 6 to 8 months. All right, as you've been doing these studies for, and I'm not even going to start naming the companies. They're all over the map. All right, you've got a nice track record. You're very reliable, and one of the things that we like best about working with you is that you're just bluntly honest. All right. You're not going to tell us something you don't know, and you're not going to spin it left or right, or any other thing for that matter.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is probably more important to our membership than anything else. They're just looking for good, honest, analysis, and that type of thing. So we hope to be able to light up the six chambers of commerce in New York City, as well as a number of other business groups to get involved in this study. And we're going to hear more from you when we get back right after this message and a word from one of our sponsors over at Cisco. All right, so we'll get right back to you.
Thanks,